It is cold outside today, even as we head into the afternoon hour. The city of Austin is preparing for some more winter weather headed our way. How they're helping those who might not have a place to go during this cold snap.
Police are investigating after firefighters found a body while putting out a fire at a homeless encampment. Why they say they usually see more fires around this time of year.
And take a look. We came in second for the latest first freezes at Austin, Canton, Mabry, but now will we continue to see freezing conditions? That's coming up in your first morning weather.
In-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News at Noon.
Begin now with a live look outside from our Austonian camera out over downtown Austin. Don't let the sun and that beautiful view deceive you. It is cold out there and the temperatures could continue to cause some trouble for us as we head throughout the week.
We are just climbing into the 40s right there if you're looking at our temperature gauge, and we are also expecting some possible wintry weather a little bit later this week, so we want to check in now. But right now, let's look at the temperatures all across our area. They're cold out there.
Continues to be cold. We finally got out of freezing for everyone, and that's what we were waiting for. It looks like the official numbers have come in, and we are now seeing mid-30s across the area. Marble Falls, Burnett, Mason, San Saba, and Lampasas now out of that 31, 32 degree mark. Everyone at least set around 33 to 34, and then farther up into Austin, where we're looking at about 40 degrees there, 40 degrees in Georgetown, 42 in San Marcos. And it looks like that's actually the warmest that we're seeing at this time. Tonight, another round of freezing is possible. As we take a look right now at our 360 Cam Westlake, sponsored by Lorenz and Lorenz. Beautiful clear skies, but we're continuing to see the cold temperatures stick around. This cold air coming in overnight or yesterday, and really starting to settle in as we went in overnight. And as we look over the next 18 hours, there's nowhere to go but down over the next 3-4 hours. Yeah, we'll peak at around maybe 45 to 47, but then it's nothing but downward trend. By 1 a.m. we're looking at about 33, 3 a.m. 31. By 7 a.m. around 26 degrees out there. So what can we expect? This is what we know over the next few days. Still going to see some cold days out there and some frigid nights. We're going to get nothing but sunshine Monday and Tuesday, but a low coming in, bringing moisture. That will come in on Wednesday, going into Thursday and Friday. What we don't know is where that freezing line is going to be and exactly what type of wintry mix you're going to get in your neighborhood. So it's still cold out there. We'll talk about that, the freezing conditions and that wintry mix. Those are the three main topics for today. I'll have that coming up in your first morning weather.
Lots to track, Freddie. Thank you so much. New for you at midday, 200 people stayed overnight at the city's cold weather shelters.
The city's homeless strategy office shared those numbers today. The shelters are likely to stay busy as those cold temperatures keeps gripping our area all this week. KXAN's Mercedes Hernandez is tracking all this for us. And Mercedes, let's talk about all the ways that the city is preparing for this week.
Yeah, there are a lot of them. The city says a lot of factors go into getting ready for weeks like this one, a really cold time we're in for. A lot of the things that they're planning for is just kind of response. Of course, you've got those cold weather shelters, keeping roads clear, and of course making sure that the power stays on. We spoke with Austin Energy a few days ago. They said that they are fully staffed going into this week, making sure there are plenty of hands on deck to help restore power if that's needed. The 2021 winter storm highlighted just how dangerous the cold can be without power. The 2023 storm giving us another reminder after that storm brought down lots of branches, taking power lines down with them. ERCOT has issued a weather watch from today through Thursday because of the expected conditions, but says that grid conditions should be normal despite expected high demand. Now, getting back to those shelters, the city of Austin says those will be open through at least Thursday. Registration for the shelters is between 6 and 8 each night at One Texas Center. That's on Barton Springs Road. Guests can bring their belongings and pets as long as they're not aggressive. Meals will also be provided. Cap Metro provides rides to the shelter as well, regardless of if the rider can pay the fare or not. There is also an after-hours service for anyone who misses that registration window. Now, we are expecting an update on the city's winter weather preparations later today through the city's regular Public Safety Commission meeting that gets started at 4 this afternoon. Will?
Thanks so much, Mercedes. Turning now to some other news here. Your newest and re-elected members of the Austin City Council are being sworn in later today.
There's a special ceremony happening at 6 o'clock tonight, and that'll take place at City Hall's council chambers. Giving you a look at those new council members that were elected in November. Krista Lane for District 6, Mike Siegel for District 7, and Mark Duchenne for District 10.
The returning members are Mayor Kirk Watson, Vanessa Fuentes for District 2, and Jose Chito Vela for District 4.
Travis County Attorney Delia Garza is taking the oath of office for her second term today. Voters re-elected her in November as well. Garza previously served on the Austin City Council, where she was the first Latina to serve on the council and as Mayor Pro Tem. A little in-depth refresher for you on the difference between the county attorney and the county's district attorney. A county attorney represents the state in misdemeanor criminal cases. A district attorney represents the state in felony criminal cases, and they also present cases to grand juries. This is all according to the website Texas Counties Deliver, which is a source the Texas Association of Counties runs for you so that people can better understand local government. A county attorney also gives legal advice to county commissioners, and they bring civil enforcement actions on behalf of the state or county.
Earlier this morning, a crash happened between a car and a Cap Metro train in North Austin. Cap Metro shared the site is now clear and that the vehicle involved has been removed from the tracks. However, that collision appears to have broken a crossing bar in the process, which you see there. We're getting word that people were on the train at the time, but we have not yet heard of any injuries related to that.
Police are investigating after firefighters found a man dead inside an Austin homeless camp. This happened just before 4 Saturday morning in a wooded area near William Cannon and I-35. This is in southeast Austin.
That call first came in as a fire in the woods, and when firefighters put out the flames, they found the man's body. KXAN's Barrett Tryon takes a closer look at something police say they see much more of this time of year.
This very well could have been an accident, or it could have been something else, but right now we don't have that information.
Police spending much of Saturday in this area in southeast Austin. Firefighters originally came out here to put out a fire. That's when they found a man's body.
Call text advised it was in the wooded area nearby the apartment complex, between the complex and a gas station.
Police say it is not being investigated as a homicide, instead saying it is being investigated as a suspicious death.
This is just something that the Austin Police Department, the homicide detectives investigate regularly. So there's nothing to make it think that this is a homicide or anything like that. It's just always investigated by them.
While crews investigate what happened, it's something police and fire see a lot of this time of year.
I do know that transient campfires happen on a regular basis, especially during the wintertime. But that's all the information I have about that right now.
Homeless outreach groups like Echo in Austin regularly update what's being done to help those experiencing homelessness. The most recent data from the group shows it estimates there are more than 5,000 people living on the streets in Travis County. It is split nearly 50-50 between men and women. 11% are veterans, and another 11% are families with children. Meanwhile, police continue to look for anyone with information on what might have unfolded. In Austin, Barrett Tryon, KXAN News.
Thank you, Barrett. People living at a North Austin apartment complex have to find a new place to stay. After a fire damaged nearly 24 units, Austin firefighters say an electrical fire yesterday at the complex on Metric Boulevard near Breaker Lane is to blame. It did not hurt anyone, and the Austin Fire Department is reminding people to stay vigilant about fire safety as the temperatures get colder.
Everybody needs to check obviously their smoke alarm. We want to do that twice a year, but it's important to do it now. We don't want warming fires inside the house like propane burners or barbecue pits or anything like that. If you do have a fireplace or gas appliances that provide heat, make sure you have a carbon monoxide detector that works.
Always good reminders. Firefighters also ended up rescuing 6 cats, 3 dogs, and a snake.
Welcome back, everybody. Your time now, 12:12. And do not let those blue skies fool you. It's cold out there. So if you're headed out for your lunch, maybe to get an afternoon coffee, you're going to want to make your normal cold brew order, maybe a hot latte instead. These cold temperatures are sticking around Freddie and Rich are going to have the full breakdown coming up in just a couple of minutes. But before the cold rolled in and everybody went inside, students at a local school were rolling up their sleeves and planting their own vegetables. Meteorologist Freddie Vela has more on how these kids are becoming certified farmers right at their school.
Seeds, dirt,
all right, y'all, this looks fantastic to me.
and lots of greens.
Some of us are going to be harvesting some beets, and some of us are going to be harvesting some radishes.
Students are digging in and getting a valuable lesson on what it takes to make vegetables grow.
What I have learned about farming this year is that crops need a lot of nutrients, soil, and are very important to our ecosystem and can provide a lot of things.
Idea Runberg in Northeast Austin is teaming up with Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Services, helping students earn their Junior Master's Gardener certification.
Also a reminder, this is our final session.
The certification shows they've gotten hands-on experience in gardening and the environment.
If we don't harvest the crops, they might turn bad, and we also gotta water and soil them.
We're growing in general greens, like you can see there's some kale, there's also some lettuces, like depending on the season.
Carlos Jimenez, the child nutrition farmer at Idea Runberg, leads the program.
I like farming with my grandpa when I was a kid, and I decided to study agronomy. So I'm an agronomist engineer. We encourage them to eat them because sometimes they don't really like veggies.
In total, over 120 sixth grade students took 8 different classes in the program. As the only Idea in Austin with a farm on the property, students say they learned more about the plants and themselves.
Mi parte favorita fue like juntando basura para que las plantas like estén healthy and like weeding and like just helping like the plants get better and stuff.
So I also learned that plants have cells, and I never knew that.
And in the end, they all received their certificate to show off what they learned.
I enjoyed it a lot because you get to express like what you want to do with the plants, and it's very fun to plant.
Freddie Vela, KXAN News.
Oh, I love that story.
Adorable.
It really was, and they were talking about not only do they grow them out there, but then they harvest them for the kitchens to use there, the cafeterias to use there, and anything they can't, they mulch it back together and then reuse that in order to grow more things.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How cool is
And
that?
how fulfilling to know, hey, I made that.
Yeah, this
I
is
helped
part of
that
lunch
come
today.
to life. Yeah.
Yeah, and they, the other thing is they've all started eating more veggies. A couple of the students were talking about how they didn't want to eat cabbage or carrots or anything like that before, but now that they did it on their own, they said they really enjoy them.
So cool.
Win-win.
A win,
Absolutely.
win. That's right. Hey, speaking of windy conditions,
I was like, wait, what?
We all said, where is this going?
windy conditions and cold conditions. It was very cold this morning. By the way, look at the last time that we hit some of these temperatures. That was back on January 20th. Yeah, it's been a very long time, of last year. So almost a complete year to get back to around these types of temperatures. And our highs in the 40s, the last time we did that at 49 degrees was February 29th. And Rich Siegel was just telling me that last year there were no freezing conditions in February itself for Camp Mabry. So something to think about as we go along over the next couple of weeks. Current temperatures right now, 38 degrees in Fredericksburg, 35 in Mason, 34 in San Saba, 40 degrees in Georgetown, 40 degrees in Austin. It is breezy and windy outside, so just keep that in mind. Kristen Curry is out there. She just texted us. It's a little too cold for her taste at this point. But look, we now move over the next couple of days. We'll leave the windy conditions behind and now talk about wintry mix and what we could see here. We have a low that's going to be moving across Texas, and that's going to bring in some of that precipitation. Now, the form of precipitation that arrives, that's going to be key because that will affect your Thursday. It's going to be where that freezing line pretty much lands. Let's show you 2 different models. The first one is our GFS model. And before I show this to you, by the way, sunny today, sunny tomorrow, and that's where we're going to be at. So caught you up to Wednesday, 6 a.m. Now, as we move along, I mentioned that low is going to push through. That low is expected to bring in some of that that moisture, that precipitation within the area, and we could actually see snow and ice farther up towards the north. How low that depends on that freezing line that I was just mentioning before. When we go out towards Thursday, 4 p.m., this model, the GFS model, saying, well, everything should be farther up towards the north. You may get it a little bit out towards San Saba and Lampasas, Williamson maybe, and that's pretty much it. The Euro, that's a little more aggressive right now in saying all that you saw in Dallas, that just shift that down by a little bit, and you may start seeing that out towards Austin. But mostly Wednesday night going into Thursday. By the time we get to Friday, it's all pretty much said and done. And for the weekend, it's going to look fantastic out there. In fact, it's looking fantastic outside right now, but really what we're going to be seeing as far as short term is the colder weather. The key here is Thursday. Our temperatures aren't going to shift very much. A low of 31 that morning, but then a high of only about 37 degrees. So that's going to be the big difference here of what we're going to see overall. I mean, conditions could get a bit worse, and then we could stay a bit farther down on Thursday. But right now, forecasting 37 degrees. That's what we'll watch. And this number can and most likely will fluctuate. So you have to keep it here for the absolute latest.
The biggest blood supply center in Austin was among the first to send help to New Orleans after that terror attack on Bourbon Street. With 35 people recovering from that attack, the need for blood transfusions reached a critical level. KXAN's Sally Hernandez learned how We Are Blood was there to help.
Nick, let's go ahead and start with the urgent need to help our friends over in New Orleans. What are you doing with We Are Blood?
We Are Blood is a part of the Blood Emergency Readiness Corps, which is a coalition of blood centers across the country. And what we do is we provide a safety net for communities when they deal with mass casualty events, hurricanes, natural disasters. And when that might occur in a specific community, they can call on aid from the Blood Emergency Readiness Corps for the blood centers that happen to be on call that week. We Are Blood happened to be on call this week when the tragic event occurred in New Orleans.
How much blood did they need? How much blood did you send?
So cumulatively, between We Are Blood and the other blood centers on call, we sent over 80 donations. And importantly, it's the O positive and O negative type donations, which we've discussed before, are the more universal blood types, meaning they can assist the most amount of people.
So you go ahead and you donate what you can, I guess, what's on the shelves, but then you have to go ahead and replenish the supplies, right?
Absolutely. So whenever an event like this occurs, whether it's in our own community here in Central Texas or in a community across the country and calls upon aid, we need to be able to replenish the supply. And so coming off the holiday weeks and the holiday month where the donations tend to dip, we're looking for that help right to start off the new year.
All right. We will link how you can donate to our website, KXAN.com. Thanks again.
That's Sally Hernandez reporting. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are monitoring flu cases here in Texas. The state health department is reporting a nearly 6% increase in those positive flu tests, as well as an increase in hospital visits. The holidays do usually spark an increase in cases, but doctors say the illness is easily spread.
So the common thing is, oh gosh, somebody's sick at my house, I don't want to go there. Reality is you're going to pick up an illness, a viral illness, while someone is well. You'll have no clue.
Doctors say this year's vaccine is effective against the dominant flu variant and that recovery times are looking to be relatively quick. Hand washing and good hygiene can keep you healthy.
A new study shows Texas lags behind when it comes to health insurance for people under the age of 65. That study by the financial tech company Smart Asset found 19 of the top 20 counties with the lowest insurance rates are right here in Texas. Along the border in Hidalgo County, 32% of residents were uninsured. Other counties with low insurance coverage include Cameron, Dallas, and Harris counties. The study also showed that Orange County, near Beaumont, had one of the lowest rates of primary care physicians, with more than 6,000 residents for every one physician.
In-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News at Noon.
Welcome back, everybody. We are taking a live look outside from the top of our Austonian camera, and I can bet you it is windy and cold up at the top of that building. Thankfully, we're nice and warm here in the studio.
Usually the studio in here is very cold, but today they've ratcheted up the heat, and it feels really nice because those temperatures out there, Freddie, they're cold.
It's very, very cold, and it's going to be just as cold the rest of the week. You know, the mornings will change just a bit, and while we dropped below freezing last night, and we're going to do it again this morning or tomorrow morning, just know that it won't be as cold early in the morning, but the days, yeah, that's going to fluctuate just a bit, and I'll show you why. So we'll start off here on a Monday at 12 o'clock. Colder than normal air just filtering in, just continues to pretty much stick with the entire United States, and we're part of that as well. And farther up towards the north, they may be in a little bit of orange, but it's still cold up there. Rich was just talking about how we saw a couple of zeros as you get into North Dakota. Now, wintry weather setup over Wednesday to Friday, because this has been the story that we've been talking about. We know that there's a possibility of snow, a wintry mix across Central Texas, and then rain farther down towards the south. But it all depends on where that freezing line is going to be. Also, because it's so cold, just a reminder for a couple of things. If you're going to be using any portable heaters, make sure you turn them off when you're away or asleep. Make sure you only have one heat-producing appliance per outlet. Keep any flammable objects at least 3 feet away from heat sources. Make sure that you use a metal or heated tempered glass screen in front of your fireplace to avoid anything from kind of popping out and catching anything on fire. And then never use an extension cord or a power strip for any heaters. I think that's the key thing here. Also, make sure that your fire alarms are working in case anything does happen. Even though it is beautiful and sunny outside, and as you can see here with the Indeed camera at the Domain, it is still very cold. And look at some of these temperatures, still in the 40s out there, 40 in Austin, 42 in San Marcos, still in the 30s out towards Fredericksburg. 40 degrees as you reach out towards Georgetown and Bastrop. Coming up, I'm going to be talking about these cold conditions that are sticking around, the freezing conditions that we're going to see over the next couple of days, and that wintry chance mix. I have wintry mix chances, excuse me. I have a couple of models that I want to show you and what we could see as we go throughout the week.
Freddie, thank you. Some businesses in Austin are welcoming the cold weather. The manager of Callahan's General Store says it's seeing an uptick in sales for items meant to help keep us all warm.
We're starting to see more people come in and pick up some firewood and some portable heaters. We're also seeing people coming in to pick up insulators for their hoses and for their pipes. So all in all, we're starting to see people get ahead of this instead of coming in at the last second, the big rush. We do anticipate that rush will happen. It happens everywhere.
A lot of shots I'm making from the right.
The GM says he does not expect the stores to run out of supplies anytime soon. Turning now to Washington, D.C. Today, Congress is meeting in a rare joint session to certify the results of the 2024 election. 4 years ago, during this same process, rioters overran the Capitol supporting then-President Donald Trump's false claims of a stolen election.
This year, security is extremely tight as Congress is taking no chances with today's certification. Both the House and the Senate will meet to certify the election for President-elect Donald Trump. Overseeing this process will be Vice President Kamala Harris, who lost the presidential election in November. That certification is mandated by the Constitution to tally and affirm the results of the Electoral College.
Tall fencing has shut down most streets around the Capitol. Foot traffic is also severely restricted, and dozens of outside law enforcement agencies are there to provide additional manpower. For the first time ever, this certification has been given the status of a national security special event by the Secret Service, something usually reserved for events like Super Bowls or presidential inaugurations.
I believe there will be sufficient security. We see it going up all the way around here already. But look, it's a huge challenge, and I think we need to take it very seriously because, regrettably, we live in a time when people are radicalized by a wide variety of different things.
Also complicating things today, a snowstorm that arrived last night in the area. Washington could actually see between 5 and 8 inches of snow today. Lawmakers were told on Friday not to leave town, although we know some of them did. So we'll be watching to see if any of those lawmakers are unable to make it back to Washington. Donald Trump is looking to block this upcoming Friday's sentencing hearing in New York in his hush money case.
Trump's legal team wrote in a filing made public today asking the court to delay sentencing until after Trump's presidential immunity appeal has been settled. The judge denied his bid to dismiss the case on Friday. Judge Juan Merchan says Trump can appear in person or virtually for the sentencing and says he will not order Trump to be jailed for the crimes.
A jury convicted the incoming president in May for 34 counts of falsifying business records related to a hush money payment from his attorney at the time, Michael Cohen, to adult film star Stormy Daniels during the 2016 election. In a post on Truth Social, Trump criticized the judge, saying, quote, "This illegitimate political attack is nothing but a rigged charade," claiming the judge's order would, quote, "be the end of the presidency as we know it." The FBI is providing new information on the deadly New Year's attack in New Orleans. Footage includes Shamsuddin Jabbar testing Meta smart glasses in a mirror. You see some of that there. There's also surveillance clips of him in the French Quarter prior to the truck attack. That suspect is accused of killing 14 people in that attack. The FBI says he visited New Orleans twice in the weeks before the attack and recorded this video. Investigators say Jabbar was actually wearing glasses during the attack, but there's no indication he was recording at that time. Many people are heading to Atlanta to pay their respects to the late Jimmy Carter, the 39th president of the United States.
Carter is lying in repose at the Carter Center, and people out there are taking their chances to say goodbye and thank you. NBC's Jay Gray reports now from Atlanta.
Well, despite rain that's been hard at times and colder weather here, crowds continue to gather at Jimmy Carter's Presidential Library in Atlanta to pay their respects to the 39th president. Former President Carter really set the benchmark for service by a president after leaving the White House, and few in or outside the political arena really have come anywhere close to his reach or matching his impact as a global humanitarian, helping the disabled and the needy across the United States and around the world, fighting disease and fighting for democracy and fair elections. President Carter spent most of his life, 80 of his 100 years, in rural Georgia. He lived in the same house that he built with his wife Rosalind in 1962, only leaving there twice, once to spend 4 years in the governor's mansion here in Atlanta, and then 4 years in the White House as well. He was someone who was very active in his faith, someone who spent a lot of time in his community, and he's being remembered for that by so many who say he was really what was best about their state, about our country.
President Carter represented a lot of people, and we were very proud of him. We respected him.
A respect that will follow the former president to Washington. His body will travel to the nation's capital tomorrow. He will lie in state in the Capitol Rotunda ahead of his funeral set for Thursday morning at the National Cathedral. That's the latest from here in Atlanta. I'm Jay Gray, NBC News.
Happy Monday, everybody, and thanks again for sticking with us on KXAN News at noon. We are looking live above the KXAN studio from our weather cam up there. Gorgeous blue skies, and if you just happen to glance at that shot, you think, wow, that's going to be a really nice day, but you will need to bundle up pretty well if you step outside right now. We're going to track those temperatures and the potential for winter precipitation coming up later this week in just a few minutes.
We know this time of year there is a spike in returns after the holidays, and now these are turning into a bit of a challenge for some stores.
However, some companies are going high-tech to make those returns easier for them and faster for you. NBC's Steve Patterson reports.
It might look like something out of a sci-fi film set in the future, but these real-life Wallies are sending your unwanted items back to the past, back to the retailer they came from.
It is kind of Blade Runner-y in here.
Inside this massive facility for Happy Returns, a company owned by UPS, Chief Operating Officer Tim Fair says they're using new technology to tackle an old but growing problem. Some $890 billion a year in merchandise is returned. But on top of that expense is the costly process of getting all that stuff back.
Easy returns are challenging and expensive.
Some companies like Optoro are using AI to analyze giant piles of return clothes like this to determine if and how they can be put back on shelves. And here at Happy Returns, it's all about robots.
How much more efficient is this than a human doing it?
Yeah, so we doubled our productivity when we implemented this. So that's a radical advancement.
Here's how it works.
What do I do?
Okay, so you're going to start your return online.
You take your unwanted gift and drop it off unboxed at a Happy Return site, which could be inside an Ulta store, for example, and it gets shipped here. That's when the robots get to work.
And this is what workers are calling the dance floor. More than 100 automated robots pushing packages from retail to the warehouse in an attempt to revolutionize the way we think about returns.
Let's say you're returning an Everlane return. Okay. We would combine those items with your return with 10 or 15 other returns that came in that day from a bunch of different brands. That will go to a single container. The robot will take it to that retailer's shipping box, so an Everlane box. When that box is full, we'll put it on a pallet, and then once a week we'll ship all those items to Everlane.
The robots, Fair says, cut processing times down significantly, meaning that items can get to retailers and back on the shelf more quickly and cheaply. But do those savings come at a cost?
What about the guys and the girls who work here and am I looking at people that are going to have their jobs replaced as well?
Most of our employees are very excited. Essentially, we've made the job easier for them and allowed them to move away from more rote or challenging tasks into areas where they could add more value.
What does this look like 5-10 years from now?
We're looking at robots to unload the trucks. Okay. We're committed to this vision and kind of putting together our next round of plans right now.
A new technological revolution in the world of returns. Steve Patterson, NBC News, Valencia, California.
It's kind of wild to see that behind-the-scenes look at some of this, how it works, because that's a lot of, coordination and choreography that's happening with even the robots. Fascinating.
We're in the Jetsons. We're in
my
Star
God,
Wars.
I'm thinking the very same thing. George Jetson would be very proud. I didn't think anybody would know who George Jetson is, but thank you.
Right.
Cartoon character.
Yes.
Now, there's no robot here that can predict what's going to happen with weather next. I promise you that. The reason you want to stay here is because your phone isn't going to tell you this kind of stuff. Take a look at Tuesday morning lows. How cold it's going to be in many spots. 25 in San Marcos, 25 in Lockhart, 26 in Austin, 22 as you get out towards Mason. And these could adjust, but it seems like this is what we're going to deal with for tonight. Another very, very cold night out there. Now, this is what we're watching, an area of uncertainty. It all depends on where that freezing line is going to fall, where you could see snow compared to ice, compared to just rain. We've kind of circled out where that area of uncertainty is, but it looks like as we get into tomorrow, things will become much, much clearer. It all depends on where that freezing line kind of stops here. So we do have our graph model. This one does give us at least a good idea of what we could see. And this is our in-house one. And this is saying, well, that freezing line, it's going to be right around the metro area. And you'll see the difference between the actual rain on Thursday at 5 a.m. compared to where you could see that wintry mix of sleet, freezing rain, and then snow mostly farther out towards the north. So this is how we pretty much set it up overall. Again, depending on where that freezing line kind of pushes, if it pushes down just a little bit, I mean, you're talking about Blanco, Dripping Springs, Austin, Round Rock, Georgetown, and that's only, about a 30-minute dip here compared to everywhere else. So that's why it's so important to keep it here as we go throughout the next couple of days, because we'll show you exactly what to expect. We have a live look right now through our satellite and radar. This is our current one. Not really very much popping up tonight. 26, as I mentioned, winds coming in for the north-northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. But over the next couple of days, it's going to be a bit of a change here. Well, we'll be in the 40s for today and tomorrow. Once we get into Wednesday, it's a little harder. Why? Well, the clouds are filtering in. We have all the moisture that's going to flow back in. All of that together is going to drive down our temperatures. We don't have the sunshine to back us up anymore at this point, and that's why your temperatures are going to be just a bit colder out there, well below average temperatures. As we get to Thursday afternoon, we'll be at around 37 degrees. That's not that far off from your low that morning of around 31 degrees early in the morning. So your 7-day forecast shows a big variation between today and tonight and tomorrow to get into Wednesday. And then notice, not a big change, not a big change, not a big change whatsoever. And that's where all that moisture comes in. So that's what we have to watch. And then we look out towards Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The sun returns, and then you see the differences overall. Let's go and send it over to Rich with a look at national weather.
All right, Freddie, thank you. Here at 12:48, we're just looking at the current temperature conditions across the lower 48. The warmest air is in Florida and in southwestern California. But most of the nation is shivering right now. We are as cold as the single digits. We may even have some sub-zero temperatures up in parts of North Dakota and further into Minnesota. We've had some snowfall across the northern plain states on in through the northern Rockies, but the heavier snows right now are still falling in the Ohio Valley, especially eastern and southern Ohio down into Kentucky, extending through Pittsburgh and headed towards Philadelphia. We have a lingering snow in South Jersey on down into Delaware, Maryland, and then showers with a few thunderstorms in the far southeast. Travel delays will be primarily from New Orleans, Nashville, and Atlanta on up into D.C. and Boston. I think we'll see delays there with moderate delays forecast today later on. For those of you that are flying into Atlanta, you will definitely want to check with the airline because there could be some delays there. I'm not sure the reason for it, though, because the weather there is turning very nice after some morning storms. It could be some backup again.
Officially started off the coast of California. Why this season started a bit later than normal. Coming up.
And sticking with some animal news, the name for a pygmy hippo born here in the U.S. has now been revealed. We'll show you that after this, too. And we also want to show you what's coming up tonight on KXAN. From 7 to 9, it's back-to-back-to-back episodes of Brilliant Minds. Follow us again for KXAN News at 10. Self-driving cars are promising convenience and innovation, yes, but for one man in LA, a recent ride in a Waymo vehicle turned into a bizarre, frustrating ordeal. Instead of a smooth ride to the airport, the car glitched and began driving in circles for several minutes, leaving the man inside stranded and dizzy. After contacting the company's customer service, he says that only made things worse.
And it was just going in the circles, like around the 5th or 6th time. That feeling was very uncomfortable, where you're strapped in, you can't open the door, and this vehicle is just going in circles. So somebody obviously at the control tower realized that there's a malfunction, and then they're trying to fix it. But the kicker is they're trying to fix it, and they're trying to use my phone to fix the problem.
Waymo has yet to respond to this man's complaint. He says the experience raises concerns about safety and customer support in autonomous vehicles.
Okay, seafood lovers, rejoice. It is crab season. And in California, people wanted to get fresh crab right off the boats. You can check this out here. Many people have been waiting for this moment, eagerly watching the calendar for the start of the season. And the opening of the commercial crab season's traditional start is typically in mid-November. But state wildlife officials delayed it several times to protect migrating whales. A trip, though, many say was well worth the wait. You can see that line there wrapped down the dock. They love it. Okay, the Metro Richmond Zoo has released the name of its newest pygmy hippo. After a public poll, voters chose the name Poppy this morning. You get to meet Poppy here. Other options for the name were Juniper, an evergreen shrub to remember winter, Hammy May, a sweet southern tie to Virginia ham, and then Omi, which means water in Yoruba, a language spoken in West Africa. But yeah, they went with Poppy, and the baby hippo was born on December 9th to its parents Iris and Corwin, according to the zoo.
Little baby Poppy there. So cute. I think they're so fun. I love the whole pygmy hippo trend that's really on fire right now with Mudang and all the other ones, but this one's a little bit closer to home, which is cool.
You can make a trip to see Poppy.
Yeah.
Anytime there's all these little birds, I love them. They're so cute. Anyway, all right, let's go and take a look at your temperatures for tonight. 26 degrees. Winds coming in from the north-northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Your 7-day forecast showing that we do have that chance of wintry mix as we get into Wednesday and Thursday with very cold temperatures early in the morning. But the big day to watch is going to be Wednesday night going into Thursday as we see that potential here, giving it an 80% chance. And then by the time we reach the weekend, it's like nothing even happened, and we're back up to 54 to 56 degrees.
Just got to get through the work week.
It's just a thing of the past.
It's just a thing you know what? Better during the week than on the weekend, because who knows? Maybe snow day.
Put it out
for
there,
those
Freddie.
in San Saba, not for the rest of you. It's fine. You get what I mean.
For that. All right, everybody. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. We will see you back here in about 30 minutes with another update. For now, we will send you on your way and hope you enjoy your Monday. Take care.